Okay, we are back in part two. First, I'm going to make this. I realized in my first video the screen was a little small, so let's get it a little bigger for this one. Let's pull it up to like around 175%. That's a lot better. Let's make it full. Let's full screen this baby. Awesome. Okay, so in the first video, you did step one, the Gemara, and you did step two, the Breita. Now let's bring it together and understand the contradiction. Okay? And let's look at it right here. In the black, we see the conclusion of the Gemara. The key point of the Gemara was, if you don't say Havdalah in Marav Shmona Esrei, your Shmona Esrei does not count. Does not count. But the key point of the Breita is, if you don't say Havdalah in Marav Shmona Esrei, your Shmona Esrei does count. So now in your sheets, you should have filled out step one. You should have filled out step two. On the back of your page, there should be step three. Now really explaining the question. So let's explain the question. And I had a little chart that you can add to that as well. So explaining the question. Now, compare the key points from the Gemara, right? So let's understand the question, right? Now, I just wrote this part. Compare the key points from the Gemara and the Breita. You don't have to write that, but this is the question. Let's right over here, right? Look back at the key point of the Gemara and the key point of the Breita. Look at the key point of the Gemara and the key point of the Breita. If I miss Havdalah in Mariv, do I have to repeat Shmona Esrei again or not? If I miss Havdalah in Mariv, do I have to repeat Shmona Esrei or not? Our Gemara said you have to repeat it, but the Breita says you don't. So I made this little chart over here that I'd like you to copy in your notes. Again, copy this chart right here in step number 3, that the case is, if I didn't say Havdalah in Mariv Shmona Esrei, according to the Gemara, my Shmona Esrei does not count. But according to the Breita, my Shmona Esrei counts. Right? My Shmona Esrei does not count. You can actually add the words. My Shmona Esrei does not count, so I have to repeat it. Repeat Shmona Esrei. My Shmona Esrei counts, so I don't have to repeat Shmona Esrei. Okay? This is really the question. And it really emerges very clearly when we look at step 1, the Gemara, step 2, the Breita. We get the key points from each, and we realize these contradict each other. These contradict each other. The Gemara said one thing, but the Breita contradicts it. And now we get to the final step, and this is a very easy step, the answer. Unfortunately for this Gemara, and I wrote it in your notes, I put it in quotation marks. The Gemara's answer to the contradiction. In previous contradictions, we've explained, oh, this case was talking about this, that case was talking about that. This time the Gemara doesn't do that. The Gemara says, hey, good question. In life, this is a good message. Sometimes somebody asks you a good question, you don't know the answer. It's good to say, hey, you know what? I don't know. We gotta look into this a little bit more. The Gemara's answer is, and it's very easy what to write, how does the Gemara answer this question? The answer is, it doesn't. It doesn't. The Gemara says it is a difficulty, and it leaves it as a question. The Gemara says it is a difficulty, and it leaves it as a question. It leaves it as a question. We have later rabbis, the Rishonim, the Shulchan Aruch, etc., that eventually will explain what we do if you miss Havdalah, and we'll explain that together in class. But for the purposes of the Gemara uses the word kashya. Kashya means it is a question. It is a difficulty. It is a problem. It is a difficulty / problem, and leaves it as a question. Okay, so again, we have this very big, beautiful Gemara. It starts off with a Gemara that says not repeat to, your Shemona Esrei doesn't count if you miss Havdalah. It brings up a Breita which attacks that seemingly and says, hey, What are you talking about? Your Shemona Esrei does count if you missed Havdalah. And the Gemara answers by saying, look, that's a good question, right? It is difficult, and it basically leaves it as a question. Okay, we'll stop there. Have a wonderful day. Try to fill out all 4 parts of your worksheet and then put it in a page protector. I told your teacher, your sub, do not let you go until it's shown that it's in your page protector, and we'll take this up in class when hopefully I come back tomorrow. All the best, guys.